explosion of wildlife so incredible you'll have to see it to believe it. Don't miss this summer's biggest event, Wild Alaska Live.
Tonight at 7 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Throughout its history, Arizona PBS and volunteers have enjoyed a rich and rewarding partnership. Whether answering phones during our pledge campaigns, stuffing envelopes, or assisting with special events, volunteering is fun and provides excellent work experience, team building for a group, and a sense of community involvement and importance. If you would like to volunteer or if you have dropped off our mailing list, we encourage you to call the number on your screen or go online at azpbs.org/volunteer. Thank you.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online. Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
That's when the saints go marching in. Yes, when the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Deanne Griebel, now with Moores & Cabot Investments, serving investors since 1890, proudly supports quality programming on 8 Arizona PBS, 480-725-9602.
Hospice of the Valley, medical, social, and spiritual care for patients nearing end of life, and support for their families. A not-for-profit community hospice, HOV.org.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
President Donald Trump announced today transgender individuals can no longer serve in the military. We tell you what Arizona legislators had to say.
Here we are with another asterisk next to patriotism.
Plus, an Arizona transgender veteran shares her story and what she thinks about Trump's military ban.
And millennials are getting more politically involved than ever before. We tell you how a bill in the works could impact out-of-state students here in the Valley.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Madison Connor.
And I'm Felisa Cardenas. Thank you for joining us. President Donald Trump announced today on Twitter that he will not allow transgender individuals to serve in the military in any capacity. In a series of tweets, he said, quote, "Our military must be focused on decisive and overwhelming victory and cannot be burdened with tremendous medical costs and disruption that transgender in the military would entail," end quote. New Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced today what the next steps for the administration are.
Implementation policy is going to be something that the White House and the Department of Defense have to work together to lawfully determine, and I would imagine the Department of Defense will be the lead on that.
And Arizona legislators have reacted to the president's decision, including Senator McCain, who serves as chairman of the Senate Armed Service Committee. McCain sent out a statement today emphasizing why policy announcements should not be made on Twitter. He said, quote, "There is no reason to force service members who are able to fight, train, and deploy to leave the military, regardless of their gender identity," end quote.
But not everybody is against Trump's military ban. Missouri Representative Vicki Harsler says she supports the president.
Right now, we have people who cannot serve in the military with asthma or with flat feet. So why would we allow individuals to come in, although they're very patriotic and we appreciate their desire to serve, but who have these medical issues that could be very, very costly?
Also reacting to the decision is Arizona Representative Raul Grijalva, who tweeted today, "Service members who bravely serve and contribute to our freedoms, liberties, and rights for all are deserving of a better commander-in-chief." Another Arizona lawmaker, Congressman Ruben Gallego, was looking at the debate from two perspectives, as both a lawmaker and a veteran. Gallego was part of the tweet parade in opposition to the transgender ban today, but he also joined advocates and other lawmakers outside the Capitol to call for a reversal of the ban. Our Washington, D.C. reporter Emma Lockhart was there today. Emma?
The Capitol made the point that on this day in 1948, President Harry Truman desegregated the military. But today, many of the lawmakers at the press conference said they find themselves still fighting for equality for all soldiers. It took President Donald Trump 3 tweets this morning to lay out his policy on transgender people serving in the military. It took Arizona Representative Ruben Gallego, a veteran of the war in Iraq, one word to sum it up: stupid.
If somebody was taken out of my team all of a sudden because of some stupid tweet, I would be really ticked off.
And ticked off was just what transgender activist Mark Kiesling was.
This is unconscionable. It is bad military policy. It is bad foreign policy. It is bad domestic policy. It is bad humanity.
In those tweets, Trump says that the ban is in part due to medical costs transgender people would need, a point that Kiesling says is unjust for the estimated thousands of active military and veterans who are transgender.
I will say this, and I will say it very clearly. We as Americans never have and never should tell service members they cannot have medical treatment that their military doctors say they need, period.
Gallego is calling on his constituents for support.
Join us, call your senators, call your members of Congress, and demand that we protect our 15,000 veterans and current military personnel.
We tried to reach out to volunteers at the Veterans Affairs Hospital in Tucson, which is one of a handful of clinics for transgender veterans in the country, but they have not responded to us as of this evening. Live in Washington, Emma Lockhart, Cronkite News.
And as soon as the president's tweet went out, Arizona responded very quickly as well. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Finger is in the broadcast center with that angle of the story tonight. Tyler?
Felisa, in a series of tweets this morning, months of preparation gone with a few simple strokes on a keyboard. For some here in Arizona, what President Trump did today is shocking. As a former Marine, Marcia Clark knows what it means to serve, no matter what.
This is who I am, and I will not surrender from that position, nor retreat from it.
More than 25 years ago, Clark served this country as a man. She now identifies as a woman.
When the cry for patriots is made, there's never an asterisk put next to it.
Now the policy put into place last year could soon end. And for Clark, that's not right.
No one asked what your gender was for the Marines that charged into Bella Wood or raised a flag at Iwo Jima.
This change could affect thousands. According to a 2016 RAND study, there are between 2,500 and 7,000 transgender active duty service members, with another 1,500 to 4,000 in the reserves. For the Arizona branch of the American Civil Liberties Union, if this change happens, they're ready to fight.
There's no need to panic right now. If the rules and regulations are changed so that transgender people aren't able to serve or aren't able to serve openly, the ACLU and other organizations are ready.
But for Clark, this change shouldn't be on the table.
This ultimate outright discrimination is based on inconsistent information and a lack of facts, and is being done to meet a political mean.
That conversation wasn't an easy one for her. She broke down several times when she was looking at an old picture of herself in uniform. It just proves how difficult this conversation is. As for President Trump's tweets, the ACLU tells me that it is far from a done deal. In the broadcast center, Tyler Finger, Cronkite News.
Just a few hours ago, the Senate rejected the plan to repeal Obamacare and leave a replacement plan for later. As Patricio Espinoza reports, states like Arizona are standing by to see what's next and how to plan.
If the day comes and the Affordable Care Act is repealed and or replaced, more than 600,000 Arizonans may find themselves without health care. This, according to Cover Arizona, a coalition originally formed to implement what we now know as Obamacare. So now the question is, If repealed, do health providers in Arizona have a plan?
We need to understand what the federal government's going to do. So at this point, there are 3-4 different options that the Senate is considering. And so we're looking at all those options and the impacts of those options to figure out what we would do next. But you know, the Cover Arizona Coalition as a group was created in order to implement the Affordable Care Act. So what the organization does next after this, we don't know.
And so for now is wait and see, repeal or replace. Either way, Cover Arizona has estimated there may be up to $7 billion in total losses between 2018 and 2026. Patricio Espinosa, Cronkite News.
State Representative Bob Thorpe of Flagstaff is working on new legislation this summer. And if you're a college student, it could restrict your right to vote. Here's Cronkite News reporter Tyler Paley, who learned how this bill in progress would affect out-of-state students.
Bob Thorpe kept his seat as representative of Arizona District 6 by a slim margin in the last election. His district includes Northern Arizona University, but if he has it his way, college students in dorms won't get a say in Arizona elections for much longer. As the next legislative session nears, Flagstaff Representative Bob Thorpe is drafting a bill to restrict student voting rights, telling the Arizona Republic college students unfairly influence Arizona elections, a concept that other House members call voter suppression.
I have serious reservations. I'm really concerned, and I think it's absolutely wrong.
Isela Blanc represents Arizona District 26, which includes ASU.
We're not even looking at the snowbirds that are also temporary residents. Clearly, we are trying to suppress the young people from voting.
From a local perspective, there are over 2.2 million registered voters in Maricopa County, and less than 2,400 of those are registered to dorm addresses, according to the county recorder's office. But to Recorder Adrian Fontes, those numbers shouldn't matter at all.
You've got individuals who are choosing to come to Arizona. They are contributing to our economy by consuming, by renting, by paying for gas and buying clothes and all of that sort of stuff. They're part of our community.
Thorpe introduced a similar bill back in January of 2017, House Bill 2260, which, due in large part to an outcry on social media, was killed. But both Blanc and Fontes don't see much of a difference between that bill and this one.
This is, at its core, disenfranchisement. This is actually true voter suppression from an official perspective.
Arizona Secretary of State Michelle Reagan, a Republican, disagrees with this legislation as well. In a statement to Cronkite News, Reagan said in part, quote, "Our office has committed to make it easier for students to register to vote. Combined with our college outreach programs, we hope the 2018 election cycle will greater numbers of students participate."
And if you're preventing students from voting in their first elections that they might be 18, 19, 20 years old at, then what message are you sending?
Cronkite News reached out to Representative Thorpe multiple times. He declined an on-camera interview for this story and did not respond to our requests for a statement. Tyler Paley, Cronkite News.
Just along the Verde River, a new state park is under construction.
Governor Doug Ducey approved a $4 million budget to work on the park, but still wants to keep the nature of it. Coming up on Cronkite News, why this awaited state park has the neighborhood concerned.
College students use a series of apps to get food, get a ride, and even a place to stay. But later we show you a new app that can save you money on parking for school.
I was at the post office mailing something. I asked the clerk, "How do they let you know if your son is wounded?" It was very hard for me to form those words, but I just felt, I've got to know. I just felt so suspended in space and anxiety. And the man said, "Now, don't worry. They'll tell you."
I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now.
Sicily from 36. And he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Heaving one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe
A new state park is being introduced outside Camp Verde. Rockin' River Ranch would bring a lot of traffic to the town, and not everyone is happy about that. I hit the stables to listen to opinions from both sides of the park. Make your way to Rockin' River Ranch in Camp Verde and you'll find horses, historic buildings, and tall pines. Scheduled to open to the public in 2018, the new state park has plenty of personality, and Walter Varney plans to keep it that way.
The key thing for us is to maintain the character of the ranch. So when you go in and you first look at the ranch, you've got, you see the big open pastures, and any of the projects, any of the development of the park, we try to maintain the character of the buildings. While they are trying to maintain the character of the property, there's still a lot of work to do in order to create a self-sustaining park. Plans call for 70 revenue-generating cabins and RV spots, which led neighboring homeowners to express concern for Salt Mine Road, the only way in and out of the ranch.
And we realized that Salt Mine Road was it's pretty much a dirt road that got paved. It hasn't changed a whole lot since then.
While the biggest concern for the park is the traffic on Salt Mine Road, one homeowner has a bigger concern in mind. Rockin' River Ranch is in Mike Noble's backyard, and when he looks at the 3 proposed site plans, he sees his property lined up with what would be RV parking.
I've got Texas Longhorns. They're putting RVs right up against my fence with Texas Longhorns. I guarantee you this, they don't mix.
Noble insists there are also artifacts that need to be protected and remains skeptical of the state's commitment to preserve the ranch's special character. To reassure neighbors like Mike Noble, the state has scheduled another meeting for community input in August. Once the site plan has been finalized, the state parks team hopes to begin work as soon as possible and open the park to the public in December of 2018.
17 hours a year. According to an INRIX parking pain study, that's how much time we spend looking for parking. Blakely McHugh introduces us to a new web app designed to save Arizona State students time on parking, leaving more time for class.
It's an issue that ASU students face every day: limited parking availability and expensive parking prices. But 2 entrepreneurs are trying to do something about that benefits students and the homeowners.
It's called Air Garage, a place where homeowners can rent out their driveways, carports, or even garages to people who need somewhere to park. Co-founders Jonathan Barkle and Scott Fitzsimmons came up with the idea after hearing complaints about the high cost and limited options of parking on campus.
So that's kind of where Air Garage was born, is, it's making this option of finding parking within the community and giving back to the homeowners that maybe, don't use those spaces.
Parking at ASU can cost as much as $15 a day or more than $700 for an annual permit.
Totally way too expensive because I pay $6 a day, so it's a whole new budget,
With Air Garage, renters can pay between $25 to $65 per month. Barkle says the website design was made with easy accessibility in mind.
It's really straightforward, and we tried to make it as easy as possible for everyone involved.
The process starts off by clicking Find a Spot. The website then shows a map of available spaces, the price, location, and description of the spot. From there, the user can book the space for the time they want. Although some spaces are a mile away, Al-Shahab says it would be worth the walk.
Since I'm saving money, the extra mile won't hurt.
Barkle hopes that Air Garage will make parking easier for everyone.
Parking shouldn't be a pain, really, at this point in our lives.
And if Air Garage proves popular, Barkle hopes to expand and include businesses and churches as well. In Tempe, Blakely McHugh, Cronkite News.
Right now, ASU is the only school involved, but the co-founders hope that will change as the web app gains popularity. Extreme sports tend to be a big risk for our bodies and our health.
But some are finding ways to be extreme without all the danger. Coming up on Cronkite News, how drones are taking competitive racing to new heights.
combat is like crack cocaine. It's an enormous high, but it has enormous costs. And I think that we make a big mistake if we say, oh, well, war is hell. We all know the war is hell story. It is, but there's an enormously exhilarating part of it.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
The National Weather Service of Seattle announced earlier this week that Tucson has received more rain the past 2 weeks since Seattle has since May 1st.
Jeez.
And it's hard to believe that we're getting more rain here in the desert than the Pacific Northwest. But Blakely McHugh's here to tell us how long it's going to last.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make that much sense for us. We're used to being in Arizona, dry heat, not too much rain. But it's going to be clear this coming week, but then it might change in the weekend, and I'll show you where that might be coming from. As you can see right now in the valley, there's not much going on. There's no storm coverage, there's no moisture, but down here in Mexico, there's a storm brewing that could push up this weekend, which I'll show you what the effect might be coming up on Saturday and Sunday. But let's look at the high today was 102 with that average around 105. The record at 116 set in 1995, so we're well below that record. Let's look at temperatures across the valley. At 7 p.m., it's going to be 100 in Buckeye, 98 in Maricopa, and 96 in Scottsdale. As you can see, already dropping out of those triple digits. And at 10 p.m., all of us will be out of the hundreds, 91 in Maricopa and 92 in Scottsdale. Now let's look at the temperatures across the state. 81 in Grand Canyon, 108 in Lake Havasu, and 96 in Tucson. Now looking at our 7-day forecast. Like I said, clear skies on Thursday and Friday, but jumping up to 20% rain on Saturday, and that's going into Sunday. But then starting our next week, we're going to be clear skies again, hitting 105 on Tuesday and Wednesday. Blakely McHugh, Cronkite Weather.
Drones have been used to capture amazing footage from high elevations.
But some are finding more ways to have fun with the technology. Coming up on Cronkite News, how drone competitions in the valley are taking off.
All right.
Fascinating.
You know, sometimes I wish I wasn't so beloved.
Can't you see? Little girl got a hold on me like wow. Baby, I'm howling for you.
It's literally one for the history books.
Enjoy.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play down, nappy.
And PBS PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
The Association for Unmanned Vehicle System International projected that there will be at least 100,000 new drone-related jobs in the next 10 years. But as Cronkite News reporter Asia Walters explains, for some, drones mean a lot more.
Jim Boomer is a drone pilot who got his start in the drone industry after he lost his ability to walk in a motocross accident. Now with drones, Boomer is able to fly.
My situation is perfect. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm a paraplegic. I was hurt doing an extreme sport, motocross. That's how I got hurt. And then when I found this sport, and I was like, what a great way to get back into what I would consider an extreme sport, but with your goggles, and I don't have to worry about physically getting hurt. So
Boomer is a competitive drone pilot who's also part of an FPV group. Drone enthusiasts who gather every weekend around the valley to fly their drones at what they call fun flies. The group was put together by Dustin Pennington, owner and operator of Flight Factory, a small shop in downtown Phoenix that specializes in drones.
The industry really allows you to feel away from your body, or it's a whole new experience. The guys that I work with and the guys that are in this community, and even the girls in this community, like, they all love it. They all have a passion for it. And
FPV in the group's name stands for first person view. This means that the pilot is able to see exactly what the drone sees. This is done through a camera mounted on the front of the drone. This footage is then live streamed to goggles that are worn by the pilot.
You're gonna need to get a good set of goggles so that way you can see what you're seeing from the camera. So it actually feels like you're inside this drone flying it around, kind of like a Star Wars pod racer.
For Boomer, drones introduced him to a lifelong hobby in an unforgettable community.
that's what this hobby is all about, is helping others.
The drone industry is predicted to quadruple from its current $2.8 billion market to $11.8 billion by 2026. In the Broadcast Center, Asia Walters, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, we'll take a look at the state's latest tourism numbers, and we'll learn about efforts to shut down dark websites. That's on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour. On the ground in Iraq, revenge killings and other abuse in the aftermath of the battle for Mosul. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
The great mammals are in trouble. Roads cutting their last sanctuaries in half. Now, scientists are trying to save them.
It's our last chance to protect the diversity of life on Earth.
Wild Ways on Nova.
Tonight at 9 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
The easiest and best way to support Arizona PBS is by becoming a sustaining member. Your monthly contribution of $5 or more comes directly from your bank account or credit card, so you know your membership is always current. It also means no more renewal notices in your mailbox. So more of your dollars go to the programs you love. It's convenient for you, greener for us, and better for the planet. Become a sustaining member today.